Hello, beautiful people. My name is Kyle, and this is a video of my timed run of 20 Algeth'ar's Academy on my Blood Death Knight. This is a doozy. This is a hard dungeon. I am finally Resil 20. I am so excited to break down this video. And bit of a spoiler alert, there's no AUG. So I'm a Blood Death Knight about to do this first pool with no AUG. It's possible. You can live this pool. For my Blood Death Knight friends out there, we can live this pool, and I'll show you how right now. But I am finally Resil 20. These guys are chatting about something. They know each other. That's great. But I am just so excited. We are finally Resil 20. This dungeon is hard. This dungeon is hard. This dungeon is hard. So if you're struggling on this dungeon, I don't care what key level you are. Yeah, you're good, because this is a hard dungeon. But let's jump right into it. I flashed my talents and stuff at the beginning just so you can see when I'm running, but let's jump into this. Now, first thing I want to discuss is there's these little guys in the front here. You'll see them in a second that give you a stat boost. You see they have the highlights around them. I don't know what they all do. One's mastery, one's crit, one's healing. One's versatility, and for us Blood Death Knights, we want to get the versatility, which is this guy right here. So grab the versatility. You don't have to stop, you can just run past him. For this first pull, let's get into it. I wait for this pack of skitterflies to run by, and then I grab all the lashers. We grab everything. I death and decay there to slow them down. I taunt the other side to start getting them rushing to me. I death and decay the last skitterflies, and then we just game right here. And then we don't have an AUG, so I either have to tank these stacks or I have to just heal through it. One of the two. I just heal through it here. So as you see, I just grab everything. I'm at 3 stacks. So usually at 3 stacks, you'll see me, I'll start to run away, but I was managing these ads pretty well here. If you're a Blood Death Knight, a big tip I like to do for this, keep a lot of runic power in reserve just in case you need to spam it. So if you have to just spam Heart Strike as much as you can, you want to keep it up. You see I have 5 stacks and I start running away here just to drop my stacks. And then I come right back into it and fight. So a way you can do this is you can run away at 3 stacks. I ran away at 5 stacks. My recommendation for you, if you don't have an AUG or if you're not a dwarf and you cannot clear these stacks yourself, my recommendation is to run away from the pack at 3 stacks. I did it at 5 and it's doable, as you can see. But I would recommend, if you just want a little bit of an easier time, run away with your stacks at 5. Or excuse me, run away with your stacks at 3. Now, in the name of funnel, we got through that pool. That was hard. We grabbed these last skitterflies and we dragged them into the first boss for funnel for our DPS. So that was the first pull. DPS is also really good, so also keep that in mind. So 2 things can be true at the same time. We played that well, and also there's lots of DPS. Okay, this boss. What do we have to look out for this boss? This boss will do a Bark Breaker tank buster on you. 1, it'll do big damage, and 2, it will leave a physical debuff on you, so you'll take more physical damage. Now, if you have these skitterflies while you have the boss, it's going to be hard because he's going to give you increased physical damage, and then the skitterflies are going to do physical damage to you. So be aware. If you are tanking this and you bring the skitterflies into the boss, I pop my perg, my example right there, they deal lots and lots and lots of damage. So just be aware for that tank buster. You'll also get a bleed on you, and you see this circle? This circle removes the bleed. So do your best to stand in that circle to remove the bleed. And he'll do the circles. You just want to move away from the circles, because if you get by it, you're dead. That's essentially this boss. The last thing I'll mention is you see these hungry lashers. So when these hungry lashers hit you, they leave a poison dot on you that deals damage over time. It is not fun, and it hurts, and it deals a lot of damage. For my Blood Death Knights out there, what you can do is you can actually AMS that poison. You can't AMS it off, but they can't apply it if you have AMS on. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like when the next set comes up. But there's the Bark Breaker. He puts it on me. The Ancient Branch will also do a healing ability that will heal the boss. Just interrupt it. There's the circle. We get our stacks off. Here's the ground stuff. We drop the ground stuff. Now here's the ads that apply the poison. You could see I AMS after the stun, AMS, and look, I'm not getting the stacks. So pro tip, if you're a Death Knight tanking this and you're having trouble, first of all, I understand because I've been there. Second of all, way to help out yourself and your healer is when those Hungry Lashers pop up and start mailing you, you can put AMS to prevent the application of poison on you. So that's a really, really good tip. Just keep that in mind when you're tanking this boss. That's essentially rinse and repeat. Bark Breaker, which he does now, which does big dam and increases physical damage taken. You interrupt the Ancient Branch, and then you stand in the green circle to remove your bleed. That's essentially this boss. Sometimes when you kill that boss, it doesn't immediately get you out of combat, which is weird. That is what it is. You just have to deal with that sometimes. This guy, the Guardian Sentry. So what's scary about this pull? Nothing really. As you see, he's casting a Storm Slash, which is a tank buster. It targets the tank, deals big magic damage to the tank. For all my Blood Death Knight friends out there, we can just AMS that so we don't take damage and build lots of RP. So that Storm Slash, we can have AMS up for it. Just AMS it. It's not a mechanic we really care about. The other mechanics, he'll drop circles on the ground that if you stand in the circle, you will get stunned and big damage. That's called Deadly Wounds. And his last mechanic that we want to watch out for is this Expel Intruders. So as you know, what this mechanic will do, it's a big AoE, and if you get hit by it, it'll send you flying. What you want to do, if you're for all my melee DPS, you want to hear this out too, and my blood DKs in general, you can stand in a corner here and get knocked back and keep your uptime up on the boss, and rather than LOSing and moving it, if you can survive the hit. So if you are Blood Death Knight, you can survive the hit. I've seen Warriors survive it, I've seen Unholy DKs survive it. In the name of uptime, and if you can survive the hit, which I've seen multiple melee classes do, even rogues, you can stand there and keep uptime up. For these packs of birds, what I do is I engage them here at the base, so that way my DPS has enough time. They don't have to run across this whole platform to deal damage. They can get jumped, they jump on the thing, and they're right here to do damage. So that's why I engage this pack right here. What's scary about this pack is the birds put a bleed on you. That's it. So if you're a Blood Death Knight, what I recommend is saving your vampiric blood until the end of this pack. That way you can get healed. Because the bleeds, stacks, as you can see, are still there. They do not go away when the pack dies. Again, more of the same here. These birds come down, they fly down. So what that means is if you're ranged, give your tank some like 2 seconds to get aggro, because healing aggro, and if you're casting at them, you're at range, you're gonna steal aggro because you're hitting them first before the tank does. And this is a tank problem for every single tank out there. I don't care who you are. So for our tanks, just be aware that these mobs, your DPS and your healers will get aggro on them before you do. So you have to work a little bit harder to get aggro. That's it. Again, there's a bleed, and the big birds do a AoE damage and a targeted frontal, a cone frontal. That's it. We go again here, and this is just more of the same. More bleeds and 2 big birds that cast Gust, which is a frontal that one deals big damage and throw you off. And then you also see Raging Screech. Raging Screech is AoE damage, and it is physical damage. It is not magical. So I've seen some Death Knights press AMZ there for that Raging Screech. You don't have to. It's doing nothing, because Raging Screech is, again, physical damage, not magical. So you can press AMZ if you want to make your team feel better, but it's not doing anything. Also, when they cast Raging Screech, they get a damage boost and attack speed boost. They'll deal big damage to you, and they'll get it stacked. So be aware of that as tank. When 2 Raging Screeches go off, they're attacking faster and hitting you harder. That's these pools. Nothing scary in these pools, just something to kind of get through, but nothing scary at all. Once we get rid of those 3 packs, we grab these orbs, we throw them, and we get ready for the boss. This boss is scary at the end. Ending this boss is really kind of a lot, but what makes this boss scary? What should you watch out for as a tank? 1, you should watch out for the Savage Peck, which does, it's a big tank hit and then it leaves a bleed on you. 2nd is that Deafening Screech. So that Deafening Screech puts a circle. If you're standing in someone else's circle, you're taking big damage and you're probably dead, as well as the Frontal Cone. Do you notice there's a theme here? The birds do the same thing as the boss. It kind of prepares you for that. So that's what we're doing here. There's the AoE Screech that if for my Blood Death Knight friends or Death Knight friends in general, you can AMS that ability so you don't take damage and you don't get the dot and you generate some RP. So what I would recommend if you're a Blood Death Knight, I would recommend Vampiric Blooding every Savage Peck, and then every other Deafening Screech, I would recommend using your AMS. So now he's gonna start doing a big cast, and this is phase intermission 1. He's gonna start doing a big cast. How do you interrupt this cast? You put the balls and do the basketball thing with that. So usually what's the meta, and what I actually would recommend you would do too, is you want to do wind first to interrupt his big AoE ability, and then do fire next. Why you would do wind first is because fire gives you damage over time, and wind just makes it to where you move, the wind's constantly pushing you back, and on top, those little balls that you see that spawn after wind also give you 45% haste. So you get kind of 2 heroisms less on this fight. But the fight remains the same. There's still going to be the Savage Peck, there's the AoE damage, the Screeches, and the Frontal Cone. The only thing that's different now is that the wind is constantly pushing you back. And for all my DK friends out there, we can just press Des Advance to completely ignore this mechanic. There goes the Savage Peck. I Vampiric Blood to heal through it, and my Vampiric Blood is going to last through the Screech, so I don't need to AMS here, because my Vampiric Blood is my defensive for this, and I can heal through that. Dot. There's the Frontal Cone, and at 44%, he goes into his last big, does a big cast, and that we have to interrupt again. As you can see, the fire comes up, and so we're going to get the balls, put them in here. So what happens when we activate the fire phase is he's stunned, he receives more damage, as well as everyone's taking constant fire damage. So now this is just an acclamation of everything. We hero here for the very end of the fight. Now we have the constant move, we have fire circles on the ground, we're taking fire damage, the boss is stunned, there's circles we're avoiding on the ground, and we still have a bleed to deal with as a tank. We have the Screech to deal with as the tank. Everyone has to deal with that, and we're just balling. So it's everything in the previous phases, everything's brought down to this one phase here. That's what makes this boss hard. It's just constant damage, constant moving, constant avoiding. There's just a lot going on this boss. There's the Savage Peck. I'm saving, Kyle, why haven't you pressed Icebound or anything like that? Well, good friend, I am saving Icebound for the next pool. And you'll see why here in a second. That was stressful, but for tanks, especially Blood Death Knights, this is the scariest part of the dungeon, if you're, in my humble opinion. This is the scariest part right here. and you're gonna see why I saved Icebound Fortitude for this next pack. This next pack is scary. You have these Arcane Foragers, which will jump to random people and deal big damage. We're also grabbing this Ravager, which will jump to people and do big damage. And these Battle Axes deal lots of damage to the tank. And so I'd much rather save my cooldowns here. So you can see I pressed my pot here. I want a pot here. I want to use as many defenses as I can here. My Paladin ripped aggro on the Forager. Here's the pack. Now it's time to ball. This is a scary pack. This is where I'm clenching a little bit, because this is really the scariest part. What's scary in this pack? There's casts that go off from your Mana Fiends. They will cast Surge, which if that gets completed, that's going to one-shot somebody. The Battle Axes deal big damage to your tank. So I recommend kiting as much as you can for those. I'm lagging a little bit here. And then finally, the Ravagers will also, this Vicious Ravager will pick the farthest person away in your party, pick them, jump at them, and then do a frontal. There is a way to bait that. So if all your DPS stands like pixel stacks on the Vicious Ravager, your tank will get that every time. Because when the Ravager jumps, it knocks you back, it does magic damage. So you always want to make sure the tank gets this. My DPS, they're crazy. They decided to be at max range. So they shadow meld, they greater invisibility, they use their DRs for this. But that is scary pool number 1. His scary pool number 2. And it's more of the same. There's no new mobs here. We grab the Ravager, we grab the 4 Arcane Foragers, and then we're gonna go grab the Battle Axes and the Mana Fiends here as well. And this is more of the same. This is the exact same pool, give or take, the exact same pool as the pool previous before this. What's scary is the Vicious Ravager. Again, we'll pick a target that's farthest away, jump to them, and do this frontal. The Corrupted Mana Fiends will cast Surge. Make sure you interrupt that, because that Surge will one-shot someone as that goes. On top of that, let me turn the music down just a tad here. On top of that, these Battle Axes do big tank damage. So you want to be careful of these Battle Axes. And there's books here, and those books will CC stun one person. So you just want to interrupt the Corrupted Tombs or something like that they're called. But this is more of the same. Montonymous is like Montonymous something. The books will cast. And if the books cast, it's a channel. So they cast first, and then they channel. And it just puts their target to sleep, and they can't do anything. Get ready for our next pull as this pack dies. Grab these Foragers. And then we go into these Mana Fiends and Battle Axes. This is scary pool number 3. There's 5 Battle Axes in this pool, 2 Mana Fiends, and like 4 textbooks. So this is a scary pool. 1, because there's lots of interrupts. And 2, because there's 5 Battle Axes. And Battle Axes are not our friends as a tank. Whether I don't care who you are, what class you're playing, these Battle Axes will mess you up. As you can see, I committed Icebound Fortitude to this pool because this is scary for us, and I'm doing some kiting to avoid these Battle Axes from hitting me as much as humanly possible. But these are the 3, these are the scariest pulls outside of the first pool. In my opinion, these are scary pulls for the dungeon. Once the final ad pack dies, our boss is spawning. So what we'll do is we'll grab these 2 Foragers for funnel for the boss, and then we're going to pull the boss in game. These Foragers are good for funnel, but remember, they jump to people and deal random damage as well. This boss, what makes this boss scary? You have a targeted tank buster right there, which casts behind you. So make sure that frontal is not pointing at anyone, so it only does big damage to you. Second, those balls will come up and you have to soak these balls as they come towards the boss. If a ball reaches the boss, you are dead. It's a wipe. So you'll notice that I try to get 2 of these every time. Better me than the DPS having these. As well as DPS will get those circles that you see. They'll run out and they'll drop a pool on the ground. They'll take damage and drop a pool. And last thing, he'll do the big AoE thing like you see right there. Will knock us back and we'll leave droplets on the ground. So 3 mechanics really, but this boss is dangerous mainly for your DPS and not you. You can live the frontal, it hurts, but you can live it. You can, if you're tank, you can soak multiple balls, you'll be fine. Really, the worry here is your DPS. From the big pools, the big AoE damage, your worry is the DPS here, not so much you. So for my tanks, breathe a little bit. The scariest part of this boss is not exactly scary for you, but it's scary for the group. But there you go. We just rinse and repeat. Big AoE, drop circles, soak frontals, soak orbs. That's essentially all we're doing here. It's just rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. There's the boss, and let's continue because we got some scary pulls, but nothing too bad as we go forward. So after that boss is dead, we pull this pack of 2 Mana Fiends, Battle Axe. You see I run to the side to avoid getting meleeed by that Battle Axe. And then we go into 2 more Battle Axes and another Mana Fiend. I'm having weird issues with aggro for the beginning of this pull because my DPS, all of our hearts are probably pounding like, oh my gosh, we're doing, this is good time. If you kill the boss by 9 minutes, you are really good. So we're good time. Everyone's heart's probably pounding, including mine at this point. And what's going on with this pack? This pack is more of the same. There's interrupts, interrupt the surge, and there's 3 battle axes that deal big damage to the tank. So there's just interrupts and a lot of tank damage going off on this pool. This pool's scary because of the battle axes, but besides that, this is not like a super big pool. And as you can see, I'm kiting towards the next area we have to go to. And this next pool is big. So we don't have a lock. So usually you can do a gate skip here. Since we do not have a lock or an AUG, we cannot do the gate skip. So we're going to pull these casters and this big guy and cast Lust here and do big damage. See, I grab those 2 casters, I grab this Echo Knight, I grab this Invoker, and I grab the last Echo Knight. So there's 3 casters and 2 Echo Knights, and we commit a Lust here. Big pool. Why is this pool scary? Because there's 3 casters that have to be interrupted. If those bolts go off, you're not dead. but you're pretty damn near dead if you let a bolt get off. 2, why this is so scary is these Echo Knights. So these Echo Knights do an ability called Arcane Smash. Big AoE damage that will do big damage and kill you, especially on top of if you get Arcane Smash and then bolted, you're dead. There's just no way around that, you're dead. So that's why this pull is scary. Here's a pro tip. So this Arcane Smash that you see being casted is LOSable. You can LOS this as DPS. As tanks, I obviously wouldn't recommend that because you're moving the boss. But if you, for all my DPS friends out there, you can LOS this Arcane Smash. So get behind a rock, get behind a wall, and you cannot take damage from that. We killed that previous pack pretty quickly with the Lust there. I grabbed these last 2 Echo Knights, and you can see that I dodged that caster pack. And I'm pulling these in, and I'm getting ready to go to the boss. I'm letting my team know you can LOS, and as your tank for these Echo Knights, as a tank, if you're a tank listening to this, set your group up for success. Tank these ads in a place where your group can LOS like so. Like so. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. My group. So if you are a tank, again, I need to reiterate, set your team up for success. You can tank these mobs near a wall or near a corner, something to where you can LOS. There's the Arcane Smash. You have some LOSers in the chat. Look at that. Beautiful. We have another Arcane Smash. I'm going to LOS this one. My team's not. I didn't need to LOS that. But 1 Echo Knight is dead. And as 1 Echo Knight dies, you can chain it into this boss here. I would not recommend bringing both Echo Knights into the boss, but some groups do that. My recommendation, only bring 1 Echo Knight into the boss. So, all the mobs are dead. We are good on counts. And here's the boss. This is the moment of truth. What is scary about this boss? Really nothing for DPS or healers, to be quite honest with you. You'll get a dot put on you, tanks, and you'll drop a circle that spawns these orbs. So tanks at 3 stacks of your debuff, you will drop something that sends orbs. So these Astral Blast will give you a debuff. If you look at my debuffs right now, I have that purple guy. When I get 3 of those purple guys, I will drop a orb that I will drop a puddle that gives orbs out. You want to dodge these orbs as much as you can, and the boss will do a suck in to bring everyone in, and you just move. So my recommendation for tanks out there is you just do a big old circle with this boss. Do it around the room. So get your stacks, drop your orbs in some place that you've already been, and then just dodge orbs. I hopefully that makes sense. That makes sense in my mind, but hopefully that's coming across to you guys. Yeah, so this Astral Blast, you see I get 3 stacks here. I drop an orb there. I know he's gonna do a suck in after that. He sucks in, big AoE, we move, and this is literally just rinse and repeat now at this point. Dodge orbs, move the boss, do a big circle around the room, and when you get 3 stacks, drop your puddle somewhere where you can move away from it and help and set your DPS up for success. These big AoEs come out that you can see here. Just move from your friends. That's not really a big mechanic. You see I have 3 stacks here. I drop a bubble there. I pre-move boss because he's going to suck everyone in, and we just move. It's just rinse and repeat from here. So this boss isn't exactly scary. I wouldn't say it's definitely not scary for if you're a tank out there. This boss is not scary to you. It's more scary to your group. You just have to manage your puddle placement. If I had to give one sentence to what this boss is, it's puddle placement. Place your puddles in places where the orbs will not overwhelm your group. That's essentially it. You can see where some orbs there. I try to move the boss because my DPS dropped a puddle. So I'm trying to move here to set my team up for best success as possible. We just rinse and repeat. That's the whole fight. Avoid orbs, drop your puddles in a good spot, and move the boss. That is the entire fight. Nothing crazy here, nothing scary here. Again, this fight is just more scary for DPS than it is for you as the tank. You can also AMS when he casts Astral Blast and soak the AMS. It will not give you a stack. That's just a pro tip for my Blood Death Knight tanks out there. And there we go. We finished it. I finally get my Resil 20. This dungeon is hard. So hopefully this helps you in some way or form. But that is my run of 20 Algeth'ars on my Blood Death Knight off meta, only pugging, getting 20 Resil. It's possible. Jesus loves you, and WoW is just my hobby. My main passion is my podcast, where I talk to billionaires, people who've lost 500 pounds, and just talk to people. If you're interested in that, the link will be in the description. I hope you learn more, and I'll see you on my journey to 21 Resil. Bye, guys. Remember, Jesus loves you.